Hare Krishna. Let's make a start with Radha Madhav. Thank you all for joining. Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Gopijana Vallabha Jai Giravardhari Shodanandan Vrajjana Ranjana Shodanandan Vrajjana Ranjana Yamuna Tiruvanachari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jai Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadameyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Nitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvitam Savadhutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Hari Priya Vancha Kalpatrubheshcha Kirpa Sindhu Bevacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukham Groti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Girim Yat Kirpatam Vandeshi Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madham Shishtaneshwariyam Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamadurya Nashta Presha Abduresha Nityam Bhagavata-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestiki. Okay, so once again thank you for joining. Last time we were talking about we were talking about Lord Brahma's forgetfulness, and if Lord Brahma is forgetful, then who are we? Brahma sleeps, wakes up, he's forgotten how to create, then he has to start all over again. And in our case, we have forgotten Krishna. We don't need to sleep to forget Krishna. We can forget him many times in the day, which is actually our ultimate goal in life, but we have forgotten. And we also said how material body is a bad bargain. We are in the material world. We have a material body. We are in the material world. So still we make the best use of this bad bargain of becoming spiritualists, and at the same time help others as well. And finally we said, do not waste this precious time. Every moment, every second is precious. Don't waste it on mundane things. Sometimes we have to do maybe a little bit, as a grasta we allow a little bit gratification. It's as mentioned in the Bhagavad-Gita by Srila Prabhupada, but ultimately a sight should be on the goal. I was talking to someone yesterday about keeping Krishna in the center, and they mentioned to me that one devotee has written a book called Keeping Krishna in the Corner. in the corner. So even if we talk about keeping Krishna in the center, but how often do we keep Krishna in the center? It's always about what we want, right? What's best for us. And this devotee has written that just even try to keep Krishna in the corner if you can't keep him in the center. If you keep him at least in the corner, he will help you to bring him to the center. So this is how we are, and we talk about becoming pure devotees and all this, totally purified. But at the end of the day, it's our endeavor. Krishna sees whether we can be pure devotees or not is another thing. Only by His mercy. But He wants to see that at least we try. He wants to see us try. That's the main thing. Okay, so let's go to 4. Satyam shitao kim kashipo praser baho swasidehi upabarani kim sati anjalo kim prudhan patra digval kaladau sati kim dukhilehi. So satyam, being in possession, shitao, earthly flats, kim, where is the necessity, kashipo, of beds and cots, prasahi, endeavoring for, bahu, the arms, swaside, being self-sufficient, he certainly, upa, barnahi, bed and bedstead, kim, what is the use, sati, being present, anjalau, the palms of the hands, kim, what is the use, purudha, varieties of uneatables, Patrya, body utensil, dik, open space, Vulkal, adau, skins of trees, Sati, being existent, Kim, what is the use of, and Dukulehi, clothes. Excuse me. When there are ample earthly flats to lie on, what is the necessity of cots and beds? When one can use his own arms, what is the necessity of a pillow? When one can use the palms of his hands, what is the necessity of varieties of utensils? When there is ample covering, or the skins of trees, what is the necessity of clothing? Okay, let's see what that means. So the necessities of life for the protection and comfort of the body must not be unnecessarily increased. So we're talking about the minimal, as mentioned in the verse translation. And then we said that we actually, instead of minimal, we go a bit out of necessity, unnecessarily gathering things that we don't necessarily need. We want different size this, and we want different size pots, all sorts. And in the Western world, they have the dessert spoon, and all sorts of, and a teaspoon. There's a spoon for everything. So it is just something it's our own mind concoction. Human energy is spoiled in a vain search after such illusory happiness. If one is able to lie down on the floor, then why should one endeavor to get a good bedstead or soft cushion to lie on? If one can rest without any pillow and make use of the soft arms endowed by nature, there is no necessity of searching after a pillow. If we make a study of the general life of the animals, We can see that they have no intelligence for building big houses, furniture, and other household paraphernalia, and yet they maintain a healthy life by lying down on the open land. They don't know how to cook or prepare foodstuff, yet they still live healthily lives more easily than the human being. This does not mean the human civilization should revert to animal life, which is a good thing, right? Because you think, well, we don't want to copy the animals necessarily. Sorry, we have to maintain a healthy life. So yes, this does not mean that human civilization should revert to animal life, or that the human being should live naked in the jungles without any culture, education, and sense of morality. An intelligent human cannot live the life of an animal. Rather, man should try to utilize his intelligence in arts and science, poetry and philosophy. In such a way, he can further the progressive march of human civilization. But here, the idea given by Shukadeva Goswami is that the reserve energy of human life, which is far superior to that of animals, should simply be utilized for self-realization. So the bottom line is, of course, we have to endeavor to do the best, as a human being. We have to have some kind of a civil system for us, which is there should be gap between us and the animals, and we should have some comfort as well, and we should have some sophistication compared to the animals, but do not over endeavor. That's Srila Prabhupada always says, do not over endeavor after things, material things. So advancement of human civilization must be towards the goal of establishing our lost relationship with God. So don't use up all your intelligence and all your energy unnecessarily. Save it for Krishna, right? In fact, all our energy, you should always pray that my energy, my everything, my mind, my intelligence is for your service, Krishna. I want to use in your service. And then Krishna gives you the energy. If he thinks he's going to waste energy and really, on wrong things or things that take you away from him, then why should he give you the energy? He's doing you a favor, because you will only go further away. At least if you don't have the energy, you are where you are. You might not be advancing, but you're not, going in the wrong direction either. And that is one thing. We ask for Krishna for health. We ask him for energy, but then we want to utilize it in other ways, right? We want to utilize it for material things, catching up so much with this and that, our hobbies, and maybe spend too much time with friends and socializing, and that would take us away from Krishna. Especially if you have friends that are not Krishna conscious, then you'll be discussing mundane things, spending time, and visiting restaurants and things like that. So why should Krishna, if you are a devotee, Krishna will give you the energy, the strength, if he's convinced, if you can convince him that you are going to use it for his service, then why won't he give you he wants you to do your service, because that is our constitutional position, that is our right, that is our birthright to serve Krishna. So why would he not give us our right? He would, but do you want it for that reason, or you want it for other reasons? So that's very important. So advancement of human civilization must be towards the goal of establishing our lost relationship with God, which is not possible in any form of life other than the human. So he would help you. One must realize the nullity of the material phenomena, considering it passing phantasmagoria, and must endeavor to make a solution to the miseries of life. Self-complacence with the polished type of animal civilization geared to sense gratification is delusion. So read that again. Self-complacence with a polished type of animal civilization geared to sense gratification is delusion. This is what we do. We live like animals, but in a polished way. And such a civilization is not worthy of the name. In pursuit of such false activities, a human being is in the clutches of Maya or illusion. Great sages and saints in the days of yore were not living in palatial buildings furnished with good furniture and so-called amenities of life. They used to live in huts and groves and sit on the flat ground, yet they have left immense treasures of high knowledge with all perfection. I mean, I agree that we have a Kali Yuga body and we don't have that kind of strength. I mean, to be honest, we have become like that because our ancestors used to comforts, and then they were like that in that they genetically became like that, and then they passed it on to us as well. I can understand that we cannot compare to people thousands of years ago, but we're talking about simple living, high thinking here to what we can cope with. So they used to live in huts and groves and sit on the flat ground, yet they have left immense treasures of high knowledge with all perfection. Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatana Goswami were high-ranking ministers of state, but they were able to leave behind them immense writings or transcendental knowledge while residing only for one night underneath one tree. They didn't spend more than one night under one tree. They did not live even 2 nights under the same tree. And what to speak of well-furnished rooms with modern amenities. Well, they all met Mahaprabhu and they had his blessings. They were here for a special purpose which they were to fulfill, and still they were able to give us most important of civilization. So-called comes to life are not actually helpful for progressive civilization. Rather, they are detrimental to such progressive life. In the system of Sanatana Dharma, of 4 divisions of social life and 4 orders of progressive civilization, there are ample opportunities and sufficient directions for a happy termination of the progressive life. And the sincere followers are advised therein to accept a voluntary life of renunciation in order to achieve the desired goal of life. If one is not accustomed to abiding by the life of renunciation and self-abnegation from the beginning, one should try to get into the habit at a later stage of life as recommended by Srila Sukadeva Goswami, and that will help one to achieve the desired success. But as you know, our renunciation is renunciation mentally of material desires and material lifestyle. We can still stay within the family, but mentally we try to always think of Krishna and never forget Krishna. So that's the idea, that here Krishna is priority. So just to add that we need protection and comfort, but we should not be unnecessarily increasing that protection and comfort, as we mentioned. Instead of wasting too much time on comfort and protection, it might as well be spent on arts, poetry, science and philosophy in line with God consciousness. So if you think we got time, or you have the ability, or you have the skill, you can use it on arts, poetry, science and philosophy based on Krishna consciousness, right? Like Bhaktivedanta Thakur, they've written so many poems and songs about Krishna, and other Narottam Das. We have so many songs of them, that, and artis, they've done beautiful artis that we sing in Iskcon. So they used, and then we have even now devotees who can paint beautifully Srila Prabhupada's picture and other deities. There's this so wonderful artists like that. So if you must do something, then do something in the arts and poetry especially. Then we consider ourselves a human civilization. So that makes us human, not just keep polishing things that for our comfort. The 6 Goswamis gave us wealth of knowledge that is incomparable, yet they were living under a tree. This is the highest perfection of renunciation. The so-called comforts are not necessary for advancement in spiritual life. So you have to think, if you make yourself too comfortable, then how is that helping you in Krishna consciousness? In fact, it takes you away. You could say, oh, we had a heavy program yesterday, so today we want to do Bhagavatam class. So you have all turned up because you felt it was necessary, and plus by this time we're awake anyway. So if it's like Mangalarti, you can understand that. If you slept late, you're tired. Srila Prabhupada still expected people to turn up to Mangalarti no matter what. So we should not try to take too much comfort in life. We should think what is more necessary. Okay, let's go to 5. Chirani kamipit nasanti dushanti bhiksham nevangripa parbhrita saritopi ashushan rudha guha kim ajito vati naposnan kasmad bhajanti kavyadan durmadan dhan. Chirani, torn clothes, kim weather, pati on the road, na not, santi there is, dishanti giving charity, bhiksham alms, na not, eva also, angripaha the trees, parbritha one who maintains others, sritha the rivers, api also, ashushan have dried up, rudha closed, guha caves, kim weather, ajita the Almighty Lord, avati give protection, na not, upasanan the surrendered soul, kasmat what for then, bhajanti flatters, kavyaha the learned, done wealth, durmad andhan too intoxicated by. Are there no torn clothes lying on the common road? Do the trees which exist for maintaining others no longer give alms in charity? Do the rivers being dried up no longer supply water to the thirsty? Are the caves of the mountains now closed? Or above all, does the Almighty Lord not protect the fully surrendered souls? Why then do the learned sages go to flatter those who are intoxicated by hard-earned wealth? So we couldn't work this out ourselves, so we have Srila Prabhupada's purport. So it's mentioned, the renounced order of life is never meant for begging or living at the cost of others as a parasite. So it's not a one-way traffic. According to the dictionary, a parasite is a sycophant who lives at the cost of society without making any contribution to that society. So you must give back something as well. You can't just keep taking and not give anything back, because then it's mentioned that then you are described as a parasite. The renounced order is meant for contributing something substantial to society and not depending on the earnings of the householders. On the contrary, acceptance of alms from the householders by the bona fide mendicants is an opportunity afforded by the saint for the tangible benefit of the donor. So it is a two-way system. In the Sanatana Dharma institution, alms given to the mendicant is part of a householder's duty, and it is advised in the scripture that the householder should treat the mendicants as their family children and should provide them with food, clothing, etc. without being asked. Pseudo-mendicants therefore should not take advantage of the charitable disposition of the faithful householders. So that's important as well. They should not pretend to be mendicants just to make money. The first duty of a person in the renounced order of life is to contribute some literary work for the benefit of the humankind being in order to give him self-realized direction towards self-realization. So we support the sannyas ashram and the the first brahmachari ashram. We support them because they're not working. The grihastha ashram has a very big responsibility for these ashrams, support them. So in return that they give us all these benefits for self-realization. They give us spiritual knowledge. Amongst the other duties is the renounced order of life of Srila Sanatan, Srila Rup and other Goswamis of Vrindavan. The foremost duty discharged by them was to hold learned discourses amongst themselves at Seva Kunj, at Sevakunj. Yeah, so they were giving discourses there at Sevakunj. Vrindavan, the spot where Sri Radha Damodar temple was established by Srila Jiva Goswami, and where the actual Samadhi tombs of Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami are laid. So this is a very important temple, Radha Damodar temple. For the benefit of all in human society, they left behind them immense literatures of transcendental importance. Similarly, all the Acharyas who voluntarily accepted the renounced order of life aimed at benefiting human society and not at living a comfortable or irresponsible life at the cost of others. However, those who cannot give any contribution should not go to the householders for food. So that's very important as well. You don't just go to people that especially don't know just for eating food. You must offer something back. So if you go to someone's house as a Krishna consciousness person, you must at least do some kirtan in the house, and maybe discuss a little bit of philosophy as well. Even between devotees, when we get together, we do some kirtan and discuss a little bit of philosophy, maybe have a little quiz or something like that on Krishna consciousness, just exchange that mood. Sukadeva Goswami gave this warning especially for those mendicants who adopt this line of profession to solve their economic problems. Such mendicants are in abundance in the age of Kali. When a man becomes a mendicant, willfully or by circumstances, he must be of firm faith and conviction that the Supreme Lord is the maintainer of living beings everywhere in the universe. Jai. Why then would he neglect the maintenance of a surrendered soul who is 100% engaged in the service of the Lord? A common master looks to the necessities of his servant, so how much more would the all-powerful, all-opulent Supreme Lord look after the necessities of life for a fully surrendered soul? So this is what he's saying, that if you are sincere and serious and enthusiastic, then Krishna does help. He gives you the Dadami Buddhi Yogam. He gives the intelligence. He gives you the strength as well. He will give you just enough strength, as much as that how much you are prepared to do for him. He will give you that much strength. He'll definitely give you that much strength. And if he's not giving you more, it's because he knows that you're going to use it somewhere else. Okay, as simple as that. And I'm talking from my personal experience here. He'll give you just enough so you can serve him. Oh, how much capacity, how much adhikar you have built up to serve him. You may not even have the adhikar to serve him more because you're not yet purified enough to have more adhikar. So it's a science, it's a system. And Krishna works in that system, right? And he works that system for everyone, not just one or two people. That applies to everyone. So the general rule is that a mendicant devotee will accept a simple small loincloth without asking anyone to give it in charity. He simply salvages it from the rejected torn cloth thrown in the street. When he is hungry, he may go to a magnanimous tree which drops fruits, and when he is thirsty, he may drink water from the flowing river. He does not require to live in a comfortable house, but should find a cave in the hills and not be afraid of jungle animals, keeping faith in God who lives in everyone's heart. The Lord may dictate to tigers and other jungle animals not to disturb his devotee. Haridas Thakur, a great devotee, Lord Sri Chaitanya, used to live in such a cave, and by chance, great venomous snake was a co-partner of the cave. So his housemate was a big snake. Some admirer of Thakur Haridas who had to visit the Thakur every day feared the snake, suggesting that the Thakur leave that place because his devotees were afraid of snake, and they were regularly visiting the cave. Thakur Haridas agreed to the proposal on their account, but as soon as this was settled, the snake actually crawled out of its hole and they came before everyone present, all in the cave before everyone present, and left the cave for good. By the dictation of the Lord, who lived also within the heart of the snake gave preference to Haridas and decided to leave the place and not disturb him. So this is a tangible example of how the Lord gives protection to a bona fide devotee like Thakur Haridas. According to the regulations of the Sanatana Dharma institution, one is trained from the beginning to depend fully on the protection of the Lord in all circumstances. The path of renunciation is recommended for acceptance by one who is fully accomplished and fully purified in his existence. This stage is described also in the Bhagavad-Gita 6.5 as Devi Sampat. A human being is required to accumulate Devi Sampat or spiritual assets. Otherwise, the next alternative, Asuri Sampat or material assets, will overcome him disproportionately. And thus, one will be forced into the entanglement of different miseries of the material world. Because these material assets, they're going, we mentioned so many times, they're going into us like a needle. We think it's only a small thing, but it will reveal itself as a big plow. It looks like small, but it can become very big. So we have to be afraid of Maya, afraid of material energy. It may look very small, but that's an illusion, because it will become a great plow when it comes out, and we'll be bewildered by it. A sannyasi should always live alone, without company, and he must be fearless. He should never be afraid of living alone, although he is never alone. The Lord is residing in everyone's heart, and unless one is purified by the prescribed process, one will feel that he is alone. But a man in the renounced order of life must be purified by the process. Thus he will feel the presence of the Lord everywhere, and will have nothing to fear, such as being without any company. Everyone can become a fearless and honest person if his very existence is purified by discharging the prescribed duty for each and every order of life. One can become fixed in one's prescribed duty by faithful oral reception of Vedic instructions and assimilation of the essence of Vedic knowledge by devotional service to the Lord. So that's 5. So householders should treat the mendicants like the dependents or like their children, it is mentioned. We need to support them with food and shelter. At the same time, the mendicants should not exploit the charitable nature of the householders. They should not become parasites. Haridas Thakur lived in the cave, creatures didn't bother him, snake lived in the cave, left the cave. Anyway, so Krishna is in your heart, and he is also in other people's heart as well. So when we interact with someone, we got to remember that the same Krishna is in their heart. So we have to be respectful to everyone. That's for one thing. And if things go wrong, why did they go wrong? If the person didn't treat you right, why did that happen? Is it the Lord in the heart of that person telling, is that for your purification, or he's trying to tell you something, or trying to improve your behavior? He's trying to make you more tolerant. So we can process, we can think about that. Why is this? Or can we do something next time so that situation doesn't occur? So we have to use a spiritual intelligence, because we should always know that Krishna is in control. Things are happening, Krishna is in control. We can do something about our own, but we can't necessarily control other people's behavior. So we have to see that Krishna is controlling her. Why is this happening? And if something happens again and again, what's Krishna trying to tell me? So you have to be alert about these things, and take the necessary action or precaution. Okay, let's see how big verse 6 is. Okay, I think maybe we can stop here, because otherwise we'll go well over time, and I don't want to rush through this. So we'll stop sharing, and there's plenty to discuss in these 2 verses. Okay, so Pundikaksh Prabhu, I don't know whether you joined recent. I think you joined well before, right? So
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. No, I just joined very, very last point when you are saying about why it is happening, what is happening.
Sure.
But right point, I thought. Right time I joined, so I
It
always
happens to
think
all of
that
us,
why it
Prabhu.
is happening, what is happening.
Yeah, it happens to all of
So
us.
definitely there is a reason for anything that happens in our life, and as you said, it could be one, it could be for our own lesson, learn from it and not repeat it again. But it could be Krishna giving that mercy of clearing your karmic actions as well. That's the only point I had, and thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Jai Kiran Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, two verses, but so much depth in those verses. We could go through this for the rest of the day. Yes, it starts with talking about the fallibility of even the demigods. If they're fallible, then what chance do we have, right? And of course, we have to work on our fallibilities. And it does indicate that we have to be preoccupied with minimal desires because we are too preoccupied with wealth, gain, advantage, and accumulation. One credit card, one debit card. No, we need 10. We can only drive one car at a time. We can only have one house. We should only have one house at a time. But I know people who got the whole street as part of their portfolio. But it's the nature of Kali. Kali now resides not only in gold, but in the bricks. And so this is the nature of how the entrepreneurial Indians have become very accumulative. We have to develop that idea animals have: basics, food, shelter, protection, and the bare necessities, as Mowgli was reminded. But we live in such opulence that we want happiness, happiness to such an extent that we are drowning in alleged happiness, which is only temporary. We can learn a thing or two from the sannyasis who live in a very simple way, simple living, higher thinking. From one tree to another tree, they will come to your door. They will only ask for some basic needs, food, a bit of shelter occasionally. And even then, they will not depart without empowering you with some words of wisdom, a kirtan, and some words of support. And these are the pure, true mendicants. And we have to aspire to those aspirations of these sannyasis who have renounced. It's hard to renounce in this world, but we can emotionally, spiritually, and mentally renounce the material world. Have some basic desires, that's fine. But develop those desires so that we are not preoccupied with just accumulating, but using some of those skills for art, science, literature, imparting wisdom and philosophy as we do in the mornings, because this is a way and a form of service. There's a different levels of renounced order. We are grahastas. We can only do what we can, but we can still have work, responsibilities, but have boundaries within which to contain our desires. We have to become very serious Krishna conscious people. If we're serious, Krishna will empower us and he'll strengthen our resolve so that our devotion becomes selfless and to develop not only ourselves, but the whole of humanity. Stick to the prescribed duty that we've been given and don't ask for more. Simplicity is the key. We create such a very complicated spider's web and then we get trapped in it. Be very simple. Simple living, high thinking, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah. And I'll just add so prioritize. I think that's the important word, because we can sometimes we can give priority to the wrong things. So we have to, remember that human life is for self-realization, for spiritualization. So priorities should start with spiritual life, and obviously material life is there as well, to look after your own health and the family. But you keep them side by side, but make sure at least there's a balance. If nothing, don't give too much emphasis to material life. Should be some, at least it can be a balance, or maybe just a little bit more to spirituality. Thank you so much. Praveen Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandava Pranam.
Mataji.
Yes, these verses nicely explain how the nature has provided all the necessities. So, and the simple life, how we don't need all the comforts and we go for comfortable life, everything that, this will be more comfortable, but these are unnecessary. So the shloka, just remember, Anya Bhilashita Shunyam. So we need to be without desires, all these material desires, other than the desires to serve the Lord. And because simplicity frees our mind. So more we run after the material things, we are more entangled, and the needs, the wants, they just increase. I want this, I want that. So we just have to remember our goal. What is the goal of life? It's to revive our relationship with the Lord, and not to just get this, entangled in all that. And I like the affirmation you said, all my energy and everything is in your service, Krishna. So I think we should say that every day. So, and we should slowly, we will act on it as well then. And then it spoke about the mendicants, how they should be supported by the householders. And at the same time, the mendicants should not take advantage. And it's everyone's duty to give back, because whether we say nature has given so much or the Lord has given, everything belongs to Lord. He has given us everything, and we have to give back. And how we can give back is to remember Him and praise Him. And all the Acharyas, what they have done, so much gratitude for them. 6 Goswamis are mentioned, Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, how they were from very rich families, and they gave up all the wealth and they lived a simple life just under the trees. And how much they have given us. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, in all the literatures they have left for us. And like this morning, my Prabhu mentioned about Guru Maharaj as well, how Guru Maharaj, despite his ill health, still traveling, giving Krishna consciousness to everyone. So it is our duty to give Krishna prem to everyone. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. We can't really thank enough to everyone, like when all the devotees are coming and doing kirtan. And my heart was so full of joy, to Srila Prabhupada. I said, we always say when we read the books, Srila Prabhupada has given us, but what, this at the time of difficulty when, everybody's praying with you, it means so much, and not even £1 million. If you say, somebody say, oh, you won £1 million, that will not give you that much satisfaction, because then you think, oh, I should have won 2 million. But the joy you get from the association and praying together is just, can't thank enough to Srila Prabhupada. So I really, that day I said, well, and then like from other congregation as well, they're coming, praying together. So it really had good association. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Wonderful. Okay. Vijay Prabhu Sita Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes. Yeah, I was thinking that, that I like that point that sometimes Krishna doesn't give us things because we're not going to handle it correctly. And it's quite often seen in people who rise to fame or get so much money at quickly and very early age or something. And it's more harmful for them sometimes. And so it could be the same for us that although we think that if I was super devotee, I would really do so much good, but we could do the opposite even. And so maybe that's why. And that's a very good point, I thought. And I thought, actually, you know, the point about the beggars should give something back. I never thought of that and before, but actually, we're beggars as well. Really, we're begging, and we should be thinking of what, you know, if we get something from a friend or someone we know and they do some good for us, some favor for us, we do have a slight feeling of obligation that we should help them in if ever there's a chance. But really, we should think of ourselves as beggars. We're begging everywhere all the time for everything, and we're in that position really. But we don't like to think that. We think we're the masters, not beggars. But the main thing is, even as beggars, we have to do something in return. And, that's a very good point that came out. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Mataji?
She's just got a call come up.
Okay, no worries. I'm just gonna, okay, just, yeah. I mean, yesterday I spent half of the afternoon begging for pounds and, you know, whatever people can give, going around with buckets, doing for Krishna, of course. And people could see the benefit, you know, like the people would get their children to touch the money or give the money to children as well, and they're putting in the bucket. Because then are we doing for Lord Jagannath? And I'm telling them that it's for the Rath Yatra. So because obviously charity needs funds to be able to survive and to do these programs, and people understand that. And when they're giving, that they are adding value to that program, so they, it can happen again, so that they're benefiting from that as well. So that's the, that's a spiritual benefit to them by giving. Not only do they accumulate, Lakshmi, but they're helping a cause which is purifying. Everything in Krishna consciousness is purifying. Not just eating prasad is purifying, and giving Lakshmi is also purifying for us spiritually as well. So everything is purifying in Krishna consciousness, and a lot of people who come, they understand that, and they try and help. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so should we move on? Okay, so Ajay.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Yes, I think Prabhupada gave a nice analogy on to explain all the verses, as he talking about how sense gratification can be an issue. Like, it's kind of get the analogy of salt to food, as in not enough salt means that the food is not palatable, but too much salt wrecks the taste as well. There's that case that we have to try and understand how much salt we are adding. Sometimes we might need to add, we might need some sense gratification as such, or at least rather enjoyment, because if we're miserable while we're doing bhakti, then that's a problem, because then that's not what Krishna wants, and it's hard to sustain it if you're just doing out of duty. If there's no joy there, then that becomes very difficult as well. By the same token, if you're just doing it to gratify yourself, then, for example, devotees, obviously, eating prasadam is important, but the focus shouldn't be eating prasadam alone. If you're just feasting for the sake of feasting, that's kind of an issue as well. You kind of need to understand where you are at in where your bhakti's, what stage you're at the moment. If you just started, then it's fine. That's they're trying to introduce you to kirtan, maybe start chanting as well. Prasadam, the easiest way to get into it, just as you purify yourself just by eating. But if you have been in the movement for a while, then you need to get beyond these. These are the entry level things as such. You need to be actually understanding how I can actually purify myself. And that seems to be the issue sometimes. We fail to understand where we're at and how we can advance. That's why it's important when we do associate with, pure devotees, at the very least some senior devotees. And obviously we have Bhagavatam as well. Bhagavatam is very important. It does, through Prabhupada's purports, we realize that sometimes there are things that we might have missed out. We think we could be doing well, but we could do better. And that is the advantage here, that when you see that in Bhagavatam, we get the best of the best. They're the ones who refer to. We can see how they did it. And sometimes it can seem that, their standard is too high, but actually there's things we can learn from them. And we can apply it into our own lives, and we will see the benefit as well. And while we might not be able to go from household to household begging for little alms here and there, we can try to control ourselves. We don't have to. It's not about just sense gratification at times, because it can be illusory as such. Sometimes you can get out of hand. If something tastes very nice, you can maybe have too much. Maybe you can just try to control yourself. That's the whole point, really. Just you kind of need to have that. You need to know when am I doing something well, or when I'm doing something a bit incorrect. If you have that sort of understanding, then things become a lot easier, and then you can progress, and you can help others as well. And they see from your example, whether you guide them or just how you are behaving. And so, yeah, it helps everyone. And then that's how the beauty of bhakti, we can help each other. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yes, be mindful and always check yourself, which way you're going. So very nice. And I was going to say that Radharani was helping me with the buckets, and I think we have made some progress, because one time we were even shy to do Harinam on the streets, right? Even in public, that we wouldn't, when we just started, it just seemed like a bit embarrassing, to do Harinam, but now it's become a normal thing. And to actually go out with buckets and ask public for money, I can probably do it, if I sort of put my mind to it, or, just like blank my mind, but never imagine my wife going out asking me for money, but, she's doing it full, open-heartedly, and, doing the service, because we're doing it as a service, not asking like that, to help our comforts. We're doing for Jagannath, and, we're both happy to do that service. So that's so nice, to get to that kind of stage where we're no longer thinking about our own convenience, own comfort. We can go out of our comfort zone and do the service. Sometimes I think, shall I wear like dark glasses? So it's not so embarrassing asking people for money. But now just sing out, Jai Jagannath or Hare Krishna, and just let Krishna do the magic. Thank you so much. Okay, I think.
Hare Krishna, my pranams to all of you. Yes, coming to this point of asking donations, it's still not easy when you go past, say, 6-7 people, nobody puts hands in their pockets, and I just feel say in my heart to Krishna that, Krishna, if I'm asked to do this on your behalf, if you're empowering me, if you're giving me this position, please put something in these people's minds, that at least give £1 or so. But yes, it's still not easy for me, but I do it all for Krishna. And when I see the sannyasis, how they come around, like Maharaj yesterday, Jananand Maharaj, we were really tired after the going around into the Rath Yatra. When I came back, I could hardly stand up properly or sit down properly, and here he came dancing in front of each and every devotee, queuing up for the prasad and singing Hare Krishna to them. And I was thinking, wow, this is called some really big purification in this life, and something what they desired in last life. And that's why they have been given that kind of attitude and that kind of presence, even after a long day they can still smile, dance and sing the glories of holy name. And yes, we have to be the change. This is very correct. Before we say anything to anyone, we have to become the change we want to see in others. And it's one of the hardest point, and it is not easy, it's tough, but we have to do it. That's the only way we can inspire others. And if we are sitting in our comfort zones, if we're thinking that, no, I don't need to do this, let others do it, and then how will we inspire others? But yesterday, as we saw in the Rath Yatra, everybody was tired. Everybody is getting, the older are getting more older, the younger also getting older. And we just think ahead, I used to have more energy 10 years ago. What's happened to that now? But that's the way it is. But we have to do something for Krishna till Krishna is going to give us the adhikar, till he's giving is the right in his movement, in this life. And whatever he is there to come, we have to. And I'm really working on this thing at the moment for many years now, but I will share with you all that accept what you can't change and change what you can't accept. It's very easy to say and to read and to tell others, but when you try to do yourself, you realize that how much purification you need. It's very hard. It's very hard that to accept what we can't change and change what we can't accept. So most of the time in the life, we have to accept what we can't change, and changing how to accept others, in line with Krishna consciousness. That's all we can do. So this is all Krishna consciousness is all about tolerance, going against the unthinkable, which we would never do, but still you have to do when you think this is for Krishna. So let us hope that we can all progress together in our circumstances, in whatever kind of health and challenges we are suffering in our lives, and may Krishna makes us the instrument in the propagation of his holy name, however we can do, whether it's a little or whether it's so-called big in others' eyes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thanks so much. And just to read Pundikaksha Prabhu's message, it says yesterday one Mataji came and said she have completely Bhagavatam set sponsored, one extra with her, and she said she will give us to distribute. I said to her, if you can find one of her relative or friend or neighbor and give them as gift, rather to us, I hope that is fine. Yeah, I mean, if we can do it, it's even better, from our own hands. And she distributed Srila Prabhupada's books. Yeah, it's a good thing. If she still can't find, then she can obviously bring back, and we can do. Yeah, but nice too that you encourage her do it. Now, Pundikaksha Prabhu, now that she has your blessings, I'm sure she will be able to do it. So we need your blessings as well, because you yourself and Venkat Prabhu are so good at distributing books. That we need your blessings, that we can do something, at least a little bit of what you're doing.
Yes, lots of old books from the storage. They went to many devotees or newcomers' hands yesterday from our table. So every little helps. Even if they don't open those books, just look at them, touch them. They will do something in the coming lives, if not this life.
Jai. So thank you.
Hare Krishna, can I just say something?
Sure, bro.
For the first time yesterday, Chakradhari Prabhu thrust a tin can in front of me. He said, now see what you can do with it.
Well, you asked for service, Prabhu, earlier on. Krishna was listening.
And I couldn't believe it, right? Because I'm not one of these people who can go around with a tin can.
That's exactly what I mean. That it's, we find it embarrassing to do something like that.
Still, after so many years, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And guess what? By the end of the day, I think there were, because the hole was a small hole, it was small for the coins, it was big enough for the notes. There were pink ones, there were purple ones. And so I think there was probably about 40, 50 pounds, right? Wow. But something I'd never done before. So it's just amazing how the divine works in its mysterious ways. I mean, I think we have to just step up to the plate when we're asked to. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. There you go. Krishna If you had even little bit desire, Krishna will, he sees that in the heart, and then he will, you did service on Rath Yatra day. What more, can there be? So that's wonderful news, bro. Thank you so much, and we'll catch up again on Wednesday. Hear more from your realizations and your experiences. So Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare
Hari Bol.
Krishna.